Hi, Katia. Thank you for sharing your video on your strengths and weaknesses in alignment with the ASCA appraisal form and the ASCA competencies that we read. I wanted to share in my professional experience and as I'm developing as a school counselor that I have a lot of similar weaknesses or areas of growth. You mentioned an area of growth for you would be using data and implementing these programs and learning more of like the laws and the governing principalities of school counseling. And I can relate to that. I do feel like an area of growth for me is pretty much anything that deals with data. I have found in my experience working in the school is that a lot of times we aren't really looking at the data unless it's relating to attendance and some academic performance in the school. Now we will go over that data, but as far as programs like comprehensive programs and how we're developing certain aspects of the school counseling, we don't really look at other data outside of our school. And I think that is important, that we not only know what's going on with our students' attendance and their academic performance, but what's going on around us, data in other schools and in other areas. And so that's an area that I want to work with my supervision. I guess he's my supervisor. He was during practicum, but he's the main school counselor. And so for me, what I plan to do is just work more collaboratively with him and kind of ask those tougher questions that I have felt like were kind of uncomfortable. Like, hey, I see this outlined in the ASCA, or we're supposed to be doing this or looking at this. Why aren't we doing that? And I hadn't felt comfortable taking those things with him or even with stakeholders or the principal. So moving forward to grow, I want to be more open with that. I want to ask the harder questions. I want to know. And that kind of brings me to something that I had found in a journal entry, and it was by Dak and Merlin Knockenblick, maybe 2023. But it was talking about how professional development courses could really help foster a better understanding of implementing data and coming up with how to use the ASCA national model more appropriately in schools, because we hear it, we know it, we've read it in our courses, but then when we're in the school, are we seeing it being used? Like, is it talked about? And I think it's important as a way to grow, like you had talked about professional workshops, to get into those things and to learn more, to how to use this effectively, and it not just be this book that we have for the course or for these assignments, but to really apply them. So I think that you and I are in a similar situation where we know the stuff, but we also need to know how to apply it. And professional development is a way that we can both move forward in our career as school counselors. But thank you for sharing your strengths and weaknesses with the class.